Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. 6 months ago, the Congressional Commission on Strategic Posture of the United States released their final report on America's strategic posture. This bipartisan bicameral commission found that our nation is on the cusp of having not one but two nuclear peer adversaries, each with ambitions to change the international status quo by force if necessary, a situation which the United States did not anticipate and for which it is not prepared. These conclusions are not surprising. Our planned nuclear force posture was decided in 2010 when the United States considered Russia to be a partner, and back before China's nuclear breakout, the scale and speed of which were called breathtaking by the commander of U.S. STRATCOM before this committee just 2 months ago. In order to ensure that we have a safe, reliable, effective, and credible nuclear deterrent as we look to the 2030s and beyond, we need to start laying the groundwork for significant changes now. I strongly encourage, Mr. Secretary, the Department to take seriously the recommendations made in the Strategic Posture Commission report, and I am also working with colleagues here to address many of these recommendations through upcoming legislation. Secretary Austin and Chairman Brown, do you agree with the Commissioner's statement that, quote, the nuclear force modernization programs of record are absolutely essential, although not sufficient, to meet the new threats posed by Russia and China, and that the elements of the program of record should be completed on time, expedited wherever possible, and expanded as needed?
Thank you, Senator, and thanks for your sustained support for our efforts to modernize our nuclear triad. We agree with the Strategic Posture Commission that U.S. deterrence remains sound, and we've been taking a fresh look at the assumptions that are underlying our modernization program. And we also agree with the Commission's assessment that the program of record is necessary but may not be sufficient. And to the point that you made, we need to be looking forward and making sure that we have the agility to adjust our modernization program as we go forward to make sure that we not only keep pace but maintain a competitive edge. So.
Thank you. General Brown.
Well, thank you, Senator Fischer. I had the real pleasure to have the commission come to my office and sit down and brief me here about 6 weeks ago. And I do agree with their assessment that our nuclear modernization is necessary but not sufficient. One of the areas we did talk about when it comes to deterrence was not only our nuclear capability but also our conventional capability. So it's all things we are doing to modernize our force that will be important to support our nuclear portfolio but also our conventional portfolios as well.
Did you discuss with Madeline Creedon and John Kyle any specific recommendations that are put forward by the report that you would support?
We did. I don't have them right off the top of my head, but we did kind of, we came to some pretty good agreement on, I saw the report very much in a way that I think, and I really do appreciate the work that they did to highlight the key areas we need to focus on for the joint force.
Yeah, they have a number of really great recommendations, and we're working on those. Hopefully we'll get buy-in by this committee and look forward to working with you as well on that. Also, I recognize that the White House tied the department's hands through the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And as soon as the deal was made, we knew that the president's budget request for fiscal year 2025, it just wasn't going to cut it. It's not sufficient. And to be clear, a 1% increase in defense spending is not sufficient. So let me say, it is difficult for Congress to budget, to pass appropriations bills, to meet those threats that this country faces when your department, Mr. Secretary, and this administration do not even acknowledge those threats in the president's budget request that he sends us. Our adversaries, they don't constrain themselves like this. In fact, China has announced it would increase its defense budget by 7.2%, and this is despite significant challenges that the Chinese are now facing in their economy. So Secretary Austin and Chairman Brown, do you assess that the threats from China, Russia, and our other adversaries are more likely to increase in complexity and severity in the future years. I assume you do. And so I would ask, when will you step forward and appropriately offer your concerns on what we need in order to meet those problems, those existential threats that this country faces?
Well, thanks, Senator. Again, our budget request is linked to our strategy, and we look at our adversaries over periods of time and not just in the moment. And we know that our adversaries, to your point, will continue to evolve, and the challenges will increase. Again, given the constraints that we were faced with, we had to make some tough choices, and we made those tough but responsible choices to invest in near-term readiness and to take care of our troops and our families. And so I think, again, based upon where we are, I think our budget request addresses our needs that are outlined in our strategy. So.
I thank the chairman of this committee and the committee members for 2 years of going beyond what the budget was that you presented from President Biden to this committee. It is a responsibility of Congress. I agree with Senator Shaheen. I am also on Appropriations Committee. And we, as Senator Shaheen, Senator Reid, and I advocate for what we need. But you also have to be an advocate there. You also have to bring forward a sincere, a thoughtful, a reasonable budget from this administration that addresses the threats that this country faces. We hear it from you, from others within the department on those threats in classified briefings. This country needs to realize it as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.